We're going inside the scandal that has rocked Hollywood. A growing chorus of women speaking out with harrowing allegations of sexual harassment, some even claiming rape by one of the most powerful men in Hollywood, Harvey Weinstein.
After the scandal broke on October 5th, news sources erupted containing allegations of sexual harassment and abuse against movie star mogul Harvey Weinstein. Weinstein was the co-founder of multi-million-dollar corporation Miramax, which he had founded with his brother. The Weinstein brothers also founded the Weinstein Company, where they both worked at the time of the allegations.
Over a span of just 24 hours, decades worth of violated women came forward to share their stories about Harvey Weinstein, with harassment accusations blaming him for major and minor forms of harassment and assault.
The guy comes with my
Why
jacket.
yesterday you touched my breast?
Oh, please, I'm sorry. Just come on. I'm used to that. Come on.
Are you used to that?
Yes, come in.
No, but I'm not used to that.
I won't do it again. Come on. Sit here.
The sea of survivor stories began to highlight a similar pattern, an aggressive Harvey coercing women into giving him massages, forcing unwanted sexual behavior, and then silencing them with threats or money.
I felt the weight of cold steel and not him, not the predator. And there's something fundamentally wrong with that.
Despite the multitude of accusations, Weinstein maintained his innocence.
By October 8th, just 3 days after the news broke, a third of the Weinstein Company's all-male board announced their resignation from the company. The remaining actors then decided to permanently fire Weinstein. As more allegations of misconduct became public, both Hollywood and society as a whole began to question the film industry and work environments at large.
This is not just men in power with people trying to get an opportunity. This happens all the time, everywhere. Women, there's not equality.
However, it was questioned why previous bystanders were only now denouncing his behavior, as knowledge of his misconduct seemed to be a long-standing secret and joke within the media.
I turned down intercourse with Harvey Weinstein on no less than 3 occasions out of 5.
Congratulations, you 5 ladies no longer have to pretend to be attracted to Harvey Weinstein.
Some media ignored the situation altogether to avoid controversy.
Researchers sampled 25 articles from both the New York Times and the New York Post, published between October 5th and 12th, 2017. The goal was to critically examine how the news sources framed the Weinstein outbreak. Research showed that both newspapers heavily employed an attribution of responsibility frame in reporting the event, accounting for about a quarter of the total frames used in the corpus from both sources.
The New York Post was quick to single out and blame Harvey Weinstein for the decades of accusations that were recently brought to the public's attention. The Post heavily focuses on the individual at fault, Weinstein, as more than half of the articles studied include direct statements of accusation towards him. They describe him as a super predator, serial sex harasser, and more. An additional subframe of responsibility found in the New York Post were statements from the many victims Harvey affected, emphasizing his misconduct and their personal traumas.
He would greenlight my script, but I had to watch him masturbate.
This was apparent in about a third of the articles. While the New York Post framed the individual by emphasizing his predatory nature and describing victims' experiences, the New York Times spotlighted workplace culture as responsible, which appeared in almost half of the articles.
Article after article pointed fingers at Hollywood for enabling this culture of power imbalances because the industry, quote, consistently denies female directors employment and contemptuously treats the female audience as a niche, a problem, an afterthought, end quote, allowing men to leverage their superiority because of their consistent reign at the top. But while nearly half of the articles point fingers at the glaring power imbalances in work environments in Hollywood and elsewhere, only a few articles bring attention to Title IX, or new workplace policies and legislation that can prevent sexual assault and harassment from occurring in the future.
The Post's attribution of responsibility frame made one thing clear. Harvey Weinstein is a sexual predator. With the combined subframes, the Post reported on the incident in a way that could lead the audience to believe that Harvey Weinstein was the sole perpetrator and problem maker for sexual harassment in Hollywood. This focus on the famous individual actor affects the audience's holistic understanding of sexual misconduct. For example, they may not understand the scope of sexual harassment as a cultural problem. The audience may then think that if Weinstein is gone, sexual harassment in Hollywood will no longer be a problem. This thought process disregards other actors involved, such as Weinstein's board, Hollywood, or societal norms, and limits public policy and discourse.
Conversely, The Times informs readers and policymakers by focusing responsibility in terms of the larger social forces at work that have enabled Weinstein's behavior, such as silent bystanders and predatory workplace culture. Because the public may have a limited knowledge on what sexual assault and harassment looks like in work environments beyond Hollywood, it is dire that journalists advocate for structural changes in their reporting. An important step in preventing sexual assault is putting solutions forward, proving that there is still room for the New York Times and the New York Post to grow when setting the public agenda. More urges for changes in social norms and calls to action should be seen in news coverage to shape discourse around sexual assault and harassment.
If we do nothing, the change is not going to come.